What's going on, everybody? I'm Faulty Clean, and today I'm going to talk about the 5 things that you should get either your Valentine, because it's Valentine's Day today, or just someone you care about who's a professional photographer, amateur photographer, hobbyist, anything of the sort. If you like dealing with photos and video, these are the 5 best things to get your partner or get for yourself, to be honest. I'm gonna go over some of the different things, reasons why, options for the reasons, but let's get into it. Let's go. So the first thing that's super important, as anybody knows, is having memory. And memory allows for all the different shoots that you're gonna load on and off either your laptop, your desktop, or like me, if you're on the go, making sure that you have all the content you need for clients or for yourself. So the first thing you should do, if you're in your laptop, if you're using your laptop or desktop, which I'll get into, I have another video I'll get into further, upgrading your desktop if you're gonna use this method, but it is the Samsung 970 EVO Plus. This is if you have a Gen 3 laptop like myself, or you have a PCI Gen 3 desktop. There are PCI Gen 4s out, and that would be the 980 Pro from Samsung. The 2 terabytes coming soon. It's only a 1 terabyte right now. I prefer to get the 2 terabyte. Typically you can find this on sale for about $250, but hopefully you can find it on sale right now because there's shortages, of course, with SSDs. I love this thing. I have a 2 terabyte already in my laptop, and this was the second 2 terabyte, so I have 4 terabyte inside of my laptop, and then I added this to my desktop as well, both of which are scratch discs. Huge help if you're a photographer or videographer to load everything on a super fast NVMe SSD, use it like that. Next one is the Samsung T7 Portable SSD. Now, the reason you want something like this is to offload content to a drive and be able to work on them both on your laptop and your desktop. This has a USB Type-C port. It does transfer at 1,000 megabytes per second. Super fast for this size. Now, a comparison here would be that it is about the size of a business card. So this is a normal, everyday size business card, and you can see it's a little bigger, but it is about the same size. Really thin, which I like. This blue indication, this little indicator light right here is blue, light up when you're accessing the drive. But it also works if you're hooking it up to a camera. So if you're doing video, if your camera supports it, you can record straight to this SSD. Beautiful. So that's it for drives, SSD drives specifically. The second thing that is more than helpful is a battery charger, or a charger for anything. Cameras, laptops, tablets, whatever. This one in particular is 2 USB Type-C ports, power delivery. So one is 45 watt, the other is 18 watt. They have a new version now. I bought this maybe a year ago. This is useful because I charge both my cell phones at the same time with this. They're both fast charging, so that's super helpful for me. And now that I have an S21 Ultra, I do have the ability to charge this S21 Ultra at 25 watts and the S10 Plus that I have at the max of 15 watts. So that's important for me. I'm always on the go. It has a little fold down 2-prong right there. Thing is amazing. I know they have different versions of it. There's one with 2 USB Type-Cs and a Type A. I don't know if there's 1 or 3 USB Type-Cs. I'll look into that. I'll have all the links below if there's other options that are better, or just the various options in general. I also use with that these braided cables from the same company, USB Type-C on both sides. They're about 6 feet, super helpful. I also use the same brand and same colors in my car. Those are Type A to Type C with my fast charger. So if you need those, I'll include that below for the super fast charging in your car with 2 ports if you have 2 cell phones like I do, or 2 devices, a cell phone and something else earbuds, whatever. Now, number 3 is along the same lines as the one I just mentioned. It's all on the same line as plugging in power, but it's portable power. So this is my lifesaver. This thing has a power delivery USB Type-C on one side, which is how you charge it, and then it has a Type-A on the other side. Now, when you're carrying a lot of cables like I do, you always have a Type-A to Type whatever, whether it's Lightning, Type-C, or some other connector, or typically micro USB. So I have all those in my bag at all times. So this actually lives in my bag as well. I actually have 2 of them. One stays with my gimbal and the other one stays with me in my bag for everyday use. Now this typically is going to be for putting in my pocket, having a long cable like the one I just showed, and hooking up to my camera if I'm all out of resources. I've used up all my batteries. I've used the A7R2 that I have, used up all those batteries, and then this is the last hope. So that is one of them. This is the other one. Now this one is much bigger, if you want to compare, and this little small one is 10,000 milliamp hours, which will get you, well, in my case, the new Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra, 2 full charges. My other one's about 2 full charges. This one, on the other hand, which is, you know, fairly good. This one is the one that lives in my bag, doesn't go anywhere else, and it's because it's 20,000 milliamp hours, so I'll get 4 charges out of each one of my cell phones if I'm charging it. And this is my favorite part of this, because sometimes I'm on the go and I don't have a chance to plug in. It has 2 cables that are built in. One's a Type-C, one is a micro USB. So these are the ones that, and this is the big reason why I use this one, is when you plug it in, so you can plug it in through USB Type-C and micro USB, so you can charge them with both at the same time. But what I use it for is it also works with pass-through charging. So if I charge it, if I'm charging the battery bank itself, I can plug one of the cables into one of the, or even both cables, into other devices, and it'll charge the battery pack and charge my devices at the same time. So that's super important for me, because sometimes I'm out of outlets in a hotel room or things like that where I need to have that pass through. That is a great thing for me, and you know, very, very helpful. It is kind of heavy, but it's well worth it if you're carrying a lot of stuff all the time. So this is the other one that I kind of forgot that doubles on, or made me think of it when I said missing out on power ports. And this is like one of the best things I've ever found for traveling and having the ability to have all the ports that I need to charge whatever it is that I have. And I feel like this should always be carried when it comes to photographers or people that are doing content and you're on the go, because a lot of the ports in hotels are not accessible because they're behind cabinets or they're on one side of the room behind a couch or whatever it is. But this thing is amazing. Now the reason is, one, it has a port right here in the top with the 3-prong, which is very, very hard to find now. It has these 2 buttons which change the rate of charging. I think it's 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 hours. So if you need to slow charge something, you just press the button. There's green lights normally when they're plugged in, and it'll change how fast it charges. Those charging speeds are for the USBs here. So, and there's another plug, another standard 120 volt plug here. There's 2 more Type A's right here. So that's amazing. So you're like, okay, well, I have 2 120 volts. I have 2 USBs, but you flip it over and you have another set. So you have 2 more USB Type A's and another 120 volts. So you have 3 120 volts and 4 USB Type A's in one charging brick or whatever you want to call it. Now, I'm gonna put the link to this. I think this is probably the best spend if you're traveling a lot. It has a super long cord. It's not something that you just sit next to something and you have to monitor. Like, the cord is probably 6 feet, I think. You can see it all here. Like, it's quite a bit of cord. So that is one of my best kept secrets, per se. But to have 3 ports, 4 USBs, I mean, you can charge literally everything that you have. I use it for chargers. I have the Sony chargers that you plug in. I use them on both sides. I use my Sony A7R2 charger, which is just a flip out. I use it for here. And then I use the USBs. One is the watch. The other one's a cell phone. The other one's my other cell phone. And then typically, the last one is going to be either the camera that's in, I mean the battery that's in the camera, my mics, things like that. So it just, I mean, it covers all the bases. And then you just keep, I mean, I use all USB Type-C devices now, so it's really easy for me. I have a bunch of cables, and so it's just done. But yeah, best buy ever. Definitely get one of these. Okay, now going on to the 4th thing that you need, and that is probably the thing that's not mentioned very often when it comes to being a creator, and that is mice. And there's different sizes, there's different flavors. This is the Logitech MX Master 2S, I guess it is. Yeah, the 2S. I recommend getting the 3. The 3 is better than the 2 for a number of different reasons. One's the scroll wheels on the side as well. There's back buttons, those have changed, and it has gestures, but there's a cool feature right here in this little thumb rest. If you press it, it brings up all the windows that are open. You can quickly select and drag and drop and do that kind of thing. I love this mouse. It typically goes with me if I'm doing projects and I have to go to a hotel and do projects, you know, or edit projects in the hotel. I love this thing. You do want to make sure that you have a mouse pad. Typically, it doesn't really like it on white desks or glass desks, so I typically just carry a standard mouse pad. But I love this thing. The best, however many dollars that it was when I bought it. I will include the link to the new one and this one if you're interested. But this little guy was off of a Kickstarter originally that I backed, and this is probably the best small mouse that you can have for a number of different reasons. One, you're able to use it like this, like holding a pen, like a pen. So I have my S Pen here. I hold it like this. That's how I typically write, with 2 fingers up top and 1 below. Now, this is the same. So you have 2 fingers here, right on the side, and then you got the 1 on the top where you can click and do whatever you need. It also has a scroll wheel, and it has this little tiny nib here that allows for gestures. So you can flick up, flick to the side, go to different desktops, everything. It comes with a little USB Type A, but it also pairs with Bluetooth, and that's really what's important with this travel mouse. You don't need to always take the dongle, and when it's charged, when it's fully charged, it'll last, I think, at least 2 weeks, maybe a month. I rarely ever have to charge this thing, and I do when I'm doing something else and I just set it on there, or I'm using the other mouse. And it's perfect, it's small. People always ask, what is that thing? And I'm like, it's a mouse. And they never believe me. They're like, that's the funniest looking mouse. But when they hold it, it's a different story. So I would really recommend getting one of these if you travel, if you're really needing a mouse when you travel. This is probably the best one that I would recommend because you can see the size of, you know, this mouse, a full-size mouse, and this little guy. I'm gonna put the description for this company. They have a bunch of other mice now. This was actually their very, very first product. I love the product, and I don't, you know, I'm not getting sponsored for this or anything like that, but I like the mouse and it works great. I've never had any issues with it. Actually I had 2, so that kind of tells you the whole gist of it. But mice, that was number 4. Number 5 is the best thing if you're at home and you're editing on multiple monitors and you need to have a quick workflow like I do, because I basically edit thousands of photos in a day and go through them and figure out what it is I'm doing. So this is this editing panel right here. I love this thing. At first I was a little skeptical when I bought it. I'm like, I don't know if I'm really gonna like it. There's too many knobs and dials and buttons and all this other crazy stuff. But I found that I use it more often than not when I'm having to edit a ton of photos and so on. And the reason, or what I use it for, is the selection here of going through photos, and then I use these to pick the good and the bad. In my case, it's typically good, 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 and then don't worry about the other ones when I'm shooting like inventory or social media or something like that. And then I have all these dials, specific dials for hue, saturation, luminance. I have all the ones for the different applications or different sliders in Lightroom, which I normally edit in. And it's perfect for what I need it for. You can also customize it to Premiere Pro, After Effects. I think almost any of the Adobe applications now. It does have a USB type A connector. I wish it was a C, but it's not. And I wish the cable was actually able to be disconnected, so like a Wi-Fi version. Maybe in the future they're going to come out with another version that's wireless. I don't know yet, but that's one of the best things that I've used over the past year, I would say, maybe a little over a year now. But that is a great tool. I'm gonna put the link in the description so you can find more about it. But those are my 5 tips for your Valentine, or if you're trying to find a gift for the photographer in your life, or some friends, or for yourself if you're interested. So that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed all the recommendations. I'm gonna include all the links in the description just so you have those for reference. So in case you want to refer back, you don't need to basically watch the whole video again. So I appreciate it, and I appreciate for you guys for tuning in and watching the content that I create. So until the next time, until the next video, I'll see you guys later. Peace.